reasonable cost to repair or restore property. It has to be injured. Property in these cases were injured. And the amount that we calculate is the amount to restore. And that's the amounts that we were talking about. We wouldn't even have to restore for there to be a crime. There wouldn't have to be a claim. The cases even make that clear. It's just what's the measure of the damage that was done? What's the measure of the cleanup? There's not even a requirement that you have to go into it, although we're doing that in this case. To me, Judge, it's clearly a question of fact at this point. It clearly was him. These are his images. He's bragged about it. He wants to take credit for it. In that context, and here he runs from being accountable. When he's here in the light of day, he wants, through his lawyer, to run from being accountable. Out there, he snickers about it. That's when he's playing to his fan base. So, Judge, this should be bound over clearly as charged.
I don't know if we're talking about arrogance here or pure stupidity. When we look at the People's Exhibit, I believe it was Exhibit number 3 and maybe Exhibit number 1, where the defendant is pretty much giving us a lesson on how to tag property that he readily admits he has no permission to tag, so to speak. The first hurdle that this court has to overcome is the identity. And I don't think there's any question that it was the defendant who tagged these properties. He pretty much tells us. He tells us in the newspapers. He's given interviews talking about those properties that he's going to be paid to do, and then keep your eyes peeled for my signature artwork, if you will, that's going to pop up from place to place. I don't think there's any question that we're talking about one and the same person, that it was in fact Mr. Fairey who tagged these properties. And although the artwork may be beautiful, at least to him, the point of the matter is he didn't have permission to tag these buildings that he so-called tagged. So if it was the arrogance, pure stupidity, or this thrill or this rush that he gets in doing what it is that he does, what he said he would do, and he in fact came to the city of Detroit and he did it. The People's Exhibits that displayed his making of the paste, putting up these tags or this artwork, if you will, all amounts to one big fat admission. The court is satisfied that the people have met their burden of probable cause as it relates to the charges contained in the second amended complaint and warrant. The court finds those charges were committed in the city of Detroit, and the court finds probable cause to believe this defendant committed them. And although counsel puts up a good argument about what the intent of Mr. Fairey was, again, we're speaking of his arrogance and thinking that he's making things look better by putting these tags on places that weren't even necessarily abandoned, property that did not belong to him. That's the point of it all. Sir, you may have a lot of talent, but you can't go around doing things without the permission. You can't put things on people's property without their permission. I don't want you coming to my home and putting your signature, so to speak, if these allegations do in fact prove to be true. I don't want you putting these things on my home. I don't want you putting these things on my place of business. I don't want you putting this in my courtroom. And it costs me money to have it removed. So if you do in fact have a fan base, if you do in fact play to that fan base and these people who are encouraging you to tag places, and it's cool to have this signature. When we see these posters around with this Andre the Giant face and all these other things that you have on this art, it's not cute. and it's illegal. And although Mr. Freeman may be correct, there is a place for this in civil court, there's a place for it in criminal court as well, because what you've done is a crime. So the court finding those charges were committed in the city of Detroit, and there's probable cause to believe this defendant committed them. The defendant will be bound over to Wayne County 3rd Circuit Court Criminal Division for further proceedings. The arraignment on the information date and time will be September 15, 2015 at 9 o'clock a.m. and bond will be continued.
Your Honor, do we know what?
Judge, not yet. We're going to do a blind draw. Let's take an assessment. What all do we have left? Judge.
That's 29, that's 30.